May I have a roll call, please?
Chairman Arnett,
Present.
Vice Chairman Mills,
Present.
Trustee Stanton,
Present.
Trustee Newell,
Present.
Trustee Palafis,
Present.
Trustee Gata,
Present.
Mayor McLeod.
Present.
Thank you. We do have a quorum, and I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to adjourn the committee meetings in order to go into the board meeting for the firefighter promotions, along with the proclamation.
I'll make a motion to recess.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Roll call.
Oh, sorry. Can I have a roll call, please?
Oh, yeah. Good catch.
Aye.
Trustee Gata,
Aye.
Chairman Arnett,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Mills,
Aye.
Trustee Stanton,
Aye.
Trustee Newell, Trustee Palafis,
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Trustee Newell? Present. Trustee Palafis?
Present.
Trustee Stanton?
Present.
Trustee Gata?
Present.
Trustee Arnett?
Present.
Trustee Mills?
Present.
Mayor McLeod?
Present. Trustee Newell, you want to listen to the Pledge of Allegiance? Everybody please rise. Thank you, Trustee Newell. We recessed the committee meeting and started the board meeting solely for the purpose of doing the swearing in of the new promotees and doing one proclamation that we have. Who has a proclamation?
I do. Office of the Mayor Proclamation. Whereas parks and recreation programs are an integral part of communities throughout this country, including the village of Hoffman Estates. And whereas our parks and recreation are vitally important to establishing and maintaining the quality of life in our communities, ensuring the health of our citizens and contributing to the economic and environmental well-being of a community and region. And whereas parks and recreation programs build healthy, active communities that aid in the prevention of chronic disease, provide therapeutic recreation services for those who are mentally or physically disabled, and also improve the mental and emotional health of all citizens. And whereas parks and recreation programs increase a community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. And whereas parks and natural recreation areas improve water quality, protect groundwater, prevent flooding, improve the quality of the air we breathe, provide vegetative buffers to development, and produce habitat for wildlife. And whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature, be it therefore resolved that William D. McLeod, acting under and by virtue of the authority vested in him by the Constitution of the State of Illinois and laws of this village of Hoffman Estates, hereby proclaims July 2019 as National Park and Recreation Month in the village of Hoffman Estates, and hereby encourages all citizens, business leaders, and representatives of government agencies, schools, and public and private institutions in the village of Hoffman Estates to frequent the abundant forest preserve areas in Hoffman Estates Park District's facilities and promote awareness of the benefits of using and enjoying our natural resources.
Chair would accept a motion.
So moved.
A second.
We do have a motion, a second. We do want to honor our park district for all the great programs they put on. It's a gold medal winning park district, and we're pleased to have one of the representatives from the Hoffman Estates Park District here. You want to get up and say a few words?
Hi, everyone. Elisa Kapczynski, Director of Recreation. It is National Park and Recreation Month, but we like to celebrate it all year round. I want to promote our parks and make sure that everyone gets out and enjoys the parks this whole summer. Visit the pools, come to the community center, sign up for camps, hockey, all that fun stuff. So thank you for recognizing the Park District and the field.
Great, well,
You're
thank
welcome.
you. We do have a motion, a second. Can you poll the board, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata?
Aye.
Trustee Newell?
Aye.
Trustee Palafis?
Aye.
Trustee Stanton?
Aye.
Trustee Arnett?
Aye.
Trustee Mills?
Aye.
Mayor McLeod?
Aye, motion carried. Make it a circle here. You shake hands. Congratulations. Nice job. Better grab our picture then.
Everybody ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. One more, please. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you very much. Chair to accept a motion to recess this meeting.
We needed to do the promotion.
Oh, the promotions, yes. That's why all those people are here.
I saw frowns just
Yeah, I
turn into
know.
smiles.
I just couldn't resist that, I'm sorry. Chief Fortunato, you have any business you want to conduct here this evening?
Mayor and Board of Trustees, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity tonight to celebrate the promotions of 4 members of our fire department, 1 to the rank of captain, 3 to the rank of lieutenant. We have Lieutenant Jeff Golden going to the rank of captain, firefighter Scott Mullis to the rank of lieutenant, firefighter Jim Cordoba to the rank of lieutenant, and then firefighter Tim Byer to the rank of lieutenant.
Okay. Captain Golden, you want to come on up? Be captain in a minute. Okay. You want to introduce everybody, Jeff, before we get started?
My wife Julie, my daughter Paige, my son John, my son Luke Turner.
Okay. I, Jeffrey Golden,
I, Jeffrey Golden,
have been appointed to the office of captain
have been appointed to the office of
in
captain
the village of Hoffman
in
Estates,
the village of Hoffman Estates,
the county of Cook and Kane.
the county of Cook and Kane,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois.
the Constitution of the State of Illinois.
I will faithfully discharge the duties
I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of captain
of the office of captain
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, Captain.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Captain. I have this very nice badge that needs to be attached to your jacket. Who's going to do that?
My 2 sons.
Okay, guys.
Thank you.
We have a lot of paramedics here, so you'll be fine. Yeah, your brother left the toughest part for you. Excellent. We gotta get a picture, guys.
Yeah, picture. Don't be running away.
Yeah, don't run away.
You're slanting the room.
That's because you gotta get them with the seal.
There you go.
I was walking to meet you and I might get way over.
Yeah.
Keep going, Bill, keep going.
Okay, Jeff. Really? There we go.
Good. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Oh, maybe not. Hold on. There we go. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Congratulations.
Mayor, the next is firefighter Scott Mullis.
Want to introduce everybody, Scott?
Sure. It's my wife Kara, my son Jack, my daughter Mackenzie, and my son Aiden.
Great. Well, welcome to everybody. We appreciate all of your services. I, Scott Mullis,
I, Scott Mullis,
have been appointed to the office
have been appointed to the office
of Lieutenant
of Lieutenant
in the Village of Hoffman
in
Estates,
the Village of Hoffman Estates,
in the County of Cook and Kane.
County of Cook and Kane.
Do solemnly swear or affirm
Do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois.
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
I will faithfully discharge the duties
and will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Lieutenant
of the office of Lieutenant
according to the best of my abilities.
according to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations. I have this beautiful badge that says Lieutenant of the Fire Department. Who's going to put it on?
Okay.
There you go.
Just like you practice.
Congratulations. Congratulations, Lieutenant. Congratulations.
Okay, all right. I'm leaning that way just.
I know.
1, 2, 3. One more. One. Oh, 1, 2. 2 more. My bad.
Okay.
Mayor, next is firefighter Jim Cordoba.
Come on, bring your family. Want to introduce all these folks, Jim?
This is my family. This is Adriana, Juliana, Joe, Jonathan, Joseph, and Justin.
Wow.
Lots of G's.
Not going to claim the Chiefs who was standing back there, are you?
Yeah, you can joke.
His name doesn't start with a J.
I'll have to change it. I, James Cordoba,
I, James Cordoba,
have been appointed to the office
have been appointed to the office
of Lieutenant
of Lieutenant
in the Village of Hoffman Estates,
in the Village of Hoffman Estates,
in the County of Cook and Kane.
in the County of Cook and Kane.
Do solemnly swear or affirm
Do solemnly swear and affirm
I will support the Constitution
I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
the Constitution
the Constitution
of
of
the State of Illinois,
the State of Illinois.
that I will faithfully discharge the duties
I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Lieutenant
of the office of Lieutenant
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, Jim. We'll make it official. Okay. I have a very nice badge that says Lieutenant, Hoffman Estates Fire Department. That's a pro. Are they gonna make the circuit? Congratulations, guys. Okay. Yeah.
All right, there we go. Photoshop it all. Ready, here we go. 1, 2, 3. One more, please. 1, 2, 3. Thanks.
Hey.
Mayor, and the fourth is firefighter Tim Byer.
Jim Beyer, come on up with your family. Want to introduce everybody for us, Tim?
It's my wife Sue, my daughter Hannah, and my dad Joe.
Okay. We'll get right down to it, right, Tim?
Okay.
I, Timothy Beyer,
I, Timothy Byer,
have been appointed to the office of lieutenant
have been appointed to the office of lieutenant
in the village of Hoffman Estates,
in the village of Hoffman Estates,
in the county of Cook and Kane.
the county of Cook and Kane,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
I will support the Constitution
I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the state of Illinois.
of the state of Illinois.
I will faithfully discharge
I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of lieutenant
of lieutenant
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations, Lieutenant. Again, I have a very nice badge. Actually, Tim has a very nice badge. Let's correct that.
There we go.
Nice job. Congratulations, sir.
Are you ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
Can we get the four folks who got promoted this evening, come on up, we got a group picture. Chief, you want to be in it? Chiefs, we got chiefs all over the place here. Yeah. He's the chiefiest of the chiefs, though.
You guys got the tall guys over
Gotta start promoting shorter people, chief.
Or we need risers there.
Mayor, Mayor, can you scoot between these two right there? There we go. I think we got it. All right. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
Wait. Get more.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. Chair would accept a motion to recess the village board meeting until the completion of the Planning, Building, and Zoning Committee meeting.
So moved.
I'll second. There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, can you pull the board, Madam Clerk?
Mike?
Aye.
Trustee Newell?
Aye.
Trustee Palafis?
Aye.
Trustee Stanton?
Aye.
Trustee Arnett?
Aye.
Trustee Mills?
Aye.
Mayor McLeod?
Aye, motion carried. We are recessed until the end of the Planning, Building, and Zoning Committee meeting.
For July 8th, 2019. May I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Chairman Arnett.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Mills.
Present.
Trustee Stanton.
Present.
Trustee Newell. Trustee Palafis.
Present.
Mayor McLeod.
Present.
Thank you. We do have a quorum. And if I can get the approval of the minutes for June 10th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, anybody have any corrections or questions, additions? May I have a roll call, please?
Aye.
Trustee Gata, sorry.
That's okay. Aye.
Chairman Arnett.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Mills.
Aye.
Trustee Stanton.
Aye.
Trustee Newell. Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye, motion carried.
Thank you. Move on to new business. Request approval to dispose of village records that have exceeded their state-required retention period.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, anyone have any questions or anything to add? Okay, may I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Chairman Arnett. Vice Chairman Mills.
Aye.
Trustee Stanton.
Aye.
Trustee Newell.
Aye.
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye.
Thank you. Ayes have it. Under reports for information only, cable TV monthly report. Anything? Okay, we'll receive and file that. Number 2, human resources monthly, management monthly report. Okay, receive and file that as well. And number 3 is legislative operations and outreach monthly report. Nothing. Okay, we will go ahead and receive and file that as well. Anything in President's report, Mr. Mayor?
Nothing, I'll wait for the board meeting.
Okay, thank you. I see no items in other or items in review. May I have a roll call for
Move to
motion?
adjourn. Move to adjourn.
Thank
I'll
you.
second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Chairman Arnett.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Mills.
Aye.
Trustee Stanton.
Aye.
Trustee Newell.
Aye.
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye.
Thank you. We are adjourned.
Moving along, I'd like to call to order the Transportation and Road Improvement Committee for July 8th, 2019. Would the secretary please call the roll?
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Chairperson
Present.
Mills.
Present.
Okay. Vice Chairperson Stanton.
Present.
Trustee Arnett.
Present.
Trustee Newell.
Present.
Trustee Palafis.
Present.
Mayor McLeod.
Present.
Just for informational purposes, we have to do roll call votes because of the phone-in attendance this evening, and Trustee Gata will be called each time first. I look for a motion to approve the minutes of June 10th, 2019.
So moved.
I'll second.
Anything to be corrected in those? There wasn't much to them. Seeing none, I would ask for a roll call vote.
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Chairperson Mills.
Aye.
Vice Chairperson Stanton.
Aye.
Trustee Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Newell.
Aye.
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye.
Thank you. Under new business this evening, we have one item, review of request to modify parking restrictions on Della Drive and McCormick Drive. Mr. Wiesner, did you want to explain this for staff?
Trustee Mills, Chief Boss and I met with representatives from the Hilldale Green Homeowners Association to discuss their concerns with people parking on the streets. One concern was the number of people parking the streets where the vehicles were obviously not people that lived on those streets. The second concern was really a business vehicle that was routinely parked. And the third concern was people parking and blocking the group mailboxes that Hilldale Green has there. The police department conducted a survey of license plates. We worked with the HOA and met with them a second time, and out of that was the only formal action required of the committee or the board would be additional parking restrictions that actually block parking in front of those group mailboxes, and that's what staff would recommend.
Okay. Questions up here?
Do we need a motion to request?
Yeah, we need a,
this?
we
Okay.
need a motion.
Make a motion to recommend that parking be restricted in front of and within 10 feet of any mailbox on Della Drive and McCormick Drive at all locations where no restrictions otherwise exist.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Anyone in the audience wish to say anything on this? Seeing no one, and there's no other questions up here. All those in favor of the motion, let's do a roll call.
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Chairperson Mills.
Aye.
Vice Chairperson Stanton.
Aye.
Trustee Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Newell.
Aye.
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye.
Thank you. Under reports for informational only, we have the Transportation Division monthly report. Anything you wish to highlight out of that? Mr. Wiesner?
Yes, trustee, thank you. For the Invest in Cook project, we had solicited, STP resurfacing projects. We had solicited responses to a request for qualifications. We had received 19 responses, which was an unusually high turnout. We are in the process of evaluating those following IDOT's qualifications-based selection process. We will rank the responses we've received, contact the highest-ranked firm, and begin negotiating cost and hours on the basis of the scope that we'd presented.
I made a peanut butter.
It's nice to see a lot of response for a change.
It certainly is.
That's good.
Good.
Any other questions on the report? Seeing none, we will mark that as presented and accepted. And we'll move on to President's report.
I'll wait for the board meeting.
Thank you. There is nothing else to come before this committee this evening. We have no items in review. I would look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Could we please have a roll call?
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Chairperson Mills.
Aye.
Vice Chairperson Stanton.
Aye.
Trustee Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Newell.
Aye.
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye.
Thank you. We are adjourned.
I'd like to call to order on this July 8th, 2019, the Planning, Building, and Zoning Commission, or Committee. May we have a roll call, please?
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Sure.
Present.
Chairman Stanton.
Present.
Vice Chairman Arnett.
Present.
Trustee Mills.
Present.
Trustee Newell.
Present.
Trustee Palafis.
Present.
Mayor McLeod.
Present.
Thank you. We do have a quorum. Looking for approval of the minutes of June 10th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Anybody notice any corrections or deletions that need to be made? Hearing and seeing none, all those may we have a roll call on that?
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Chairman Stanton.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Mills.
Aye.
Trustee Newell.
Aye.
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye.
Thank you. That leads us to new business. First is a request by 3LA Hospitality Incorporated for a courtesy review for the construction of a building addition to the Quality Inn Hotel property located at 2075 North Barrington Road. Do we have the petitioner here?
Good evening.
Good evening. Where's that?
Yeah, second page.
We're here at the...
Do you want to give your names and addresses, please?
Sure. My name is Kitan Patel. My name is Hitesh.
And what addresses are you at?
2075 Barrington
Speak into the microphone, please.
Road. 2075 Barrington Road, Hoffman Estate.
And that's both of you?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you understand that your appearance before the Planning, Building, and Zoning Committee shall not constitute any village board endorsement, support, or implied approval of the subject property? And do you also understand that the final project approval or denial shall only occur through official village board action?
Understood.
Okay. Thank you. Please proceed.
So we're here to propose a one-story addition. The reason for this portion of the building is we're constantly requested by many customers for a swimming pool where revenue is a little bit decreasing. So we're here to propose a swimming pool where also that will compete with the other hospitality and hotels. What you see here on the paper is it's a one-story building, about 12 to 1,300 square feet. It will be about 15 feet tall. We're requesting, a courtesy review to see if this project is project is acceptable with the city.
Trustee Mills.
How is this going to affect the entrance into your hotel? Because is this across the whole front of the hotel that faces out towards Hassel? Or is this the side of the hotel?
So, yeah, it will be on the side of the Hassel. Oh, the plan that you see is the north arrow, is the only side of the building.
Okay,
Neither entrance is impacted.
thank you. And are you going to have anything else in this area, or is it just strictly the pool and
Yeah, it will be strictly a pool.
you'll have locker or changing rooms, facilities in there?
No.
Bathrooms in there?
No, nothing, just adding a, right here, just to showing a plan view, we'll have a full, after the courtesy review, we'll have a full architectural plan showing all the city requirement from the bathroom level and everything.
Okay, because we would
Accessible.
require that in there, I would
Yeah,
think.
it is required. This is just a plan
Just
view.
okay.
Yeah.
And it'll be all glass around the outside from what I see here?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
When you say all glass, is there going to be tempered glass at all so that you can't see into the pool?
Yeah, we'll probably do some kind of shade, so it'll be probably one way. This is just a preliminary. After we get the full architectural, we have a 3D model showing how it exactly will look.
Okay. Trustee Palafis.
I see a smaller circle. Is there a hot tub as well?
Yeah, it's in the corner right there.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, we'll move it accordingly, how what the city requirements or any of the IBC requirements are.
Okay, just curious, that's all.
Any other questions up here? Yes, Trustee
How
Mills.
soon do you think you'd be opening it up? I mean, once you get in for plan approval, when you get to that point, how long do you think construction will take? And when do you plan on doing all this?
Well, depending on the permit review process, we actually want to get done by the end of the winter.
Okay.
As soon as possible.
Okay. But, so about how many month process do you think it'll be to build it?
I'm thinking from a design standpoint, at least probably a month and a half.
Okay.
Design, and then a city
Then the
review
internal.
process, and then we'll probably, our goal is to get hopefully by end of August, hopefully, if we can, but I'm, it
Got to get
depends.
those plans done,
Yes,
that's the whole
yes,
thing.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Pete, do you want to talk about this at all?
Yeah, just to highlight, the reason they're here at this early stage, obviously, is it's on the Hassel Road frontage. They would require a setback variation of roughly 5 feet, it appears. The code requires a 20-foot setback for the building, and to fit this in and actually make it workable inside, they would need a 5-foot variation. And they really wanted to just get your general feeling about this proposal before they invest all the time and money in the actual engineering and architectural plans. Obviously, the addition of an amenity like this is a benefit, but because it was encroaching into that street yard, we wanted to make sure any preliminary comments got out on the table. And also, just to comment that some of you will recall, this area now is all landscaping. However, when the hotel was built years ago, there was actually a driveway connecting that, so this whole area was mostly paved years ago when it was first built. And it got changed to landscaping at some point, and now they're just looking to fill in with building.
Probably got changed to landscaping because we caused it to do that.
We did have something to do with that, yes.
Yeah.
It was really it was not an unneeded driveway anymore, so. Obviously, they would have a landscape plan developed. When they go to the plan commission, we'll have to, they'll have a full site plan with landscaping that would accompany this building addition.
Well, just on my personal opinion, I would think that a pool would add to the people coming to your property and would be a benefit to you. Anybody else have anything that you want to say or no? Okay. Thank you for coming and good luck.
Thanks.
All right, next we have a request by CA Ventures for a courtesy review for development of an office manufacturing facility located in the Fountain Crossing subdivision, which is east of Barrington Road and north of Lakewood Boulevard. Gentlemen, may we get your names and addresses as well?
Yeah, state this actually. Sorry.
I'm the only one going to present. So I'm Jim McGill from CA Ventures, or actually the entity I run is called CA Industrial Holdings. And why he's setting this up real quick, you guys probably aren't familiar with CA, but CA is a very, very large multifamily, student housing, office, senior housing developer. I had a long career with McShane and then a long career with Prologis, and then last year they hired me away to start up their industrial group. It's kind of, they call it their verticals. So I've been doing stuff in Chicago for quite a long time, so I appreciate you guys here to listen to us talk about this potential project.
All right, may I interrupt you for 1 second? Do you understand that your appearance before the Planning, Building, and Zoning Committee shall not constitute any village board endorsement, support, or implied approval of the subject property? Do you also understand that the final project approval or denial shall only occur through official village board action?
Yes, I understand that.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you for the courtesy meeting. So real quickly is hopefully expressed in our executive write-up is we don't overrepresent that we have this client, but this is a large publicly traded company that is looking at doing a corporate headquarters and a consolidation. And if they do come to Hoffman Estates, this is the site they're most focused on. We're also competing with other properties in Lake County and southeast Wisconsin and some other areas. But I think that, probably the stronger focus is to come out to the I-90 corridor. So again, I don't want to overrepresent this we have this deal. So what we're proposing here is on the lot 15 of the Fountain Crossings to build a 200,000 square foot corporate headquarters, which is roughly about 45,000 square feet of office. So very nice, high-paying jobs. They're consolidating 4 divisions here within the Chicagoland area. With that too, then as you can see from our write-up, they also have about 11,000 square feet of kind of their assembly area, which is for their machines, which is, I call that kind of a showroom. So people can come actually look at the machines and can run the machines. They've got 40,000 square feet of manufacturing assembly where the machines are get put together. And then about 95,000 square feet of warehouse space. So it's a quasi, I'd say, office building with obviously some processing, manufacturing, and some warehousing in there. The nice thing about this, again, it has 45,000 square feet of office, so if you look at the elevations, and let me go to that real quick. So that's the elevations here. So you can see we're trying, image is very important to them, image and natural light. So with this is that, again, having that much office, is you see some very prominent curtain walls here where the office is and also their machine showroom. And then you're going to have office continuing along the south side of the property for about half of that. So again, that would face the current Meyer property. The north side would be where the truck docks are, which is would be sheltered from the Meyer property. Again, they're very light on truck traffic. The person I'm dealing with gave a truck count of about 20 or 25, but I think myself and the broker both think he's being way too conservative on that, or way too aggressive on that number. Just again, I came from Prologis and A&B and spent hundreds of projects looking at truck traffic, and based upon having 95,000 square feet of just warehousing and 10 dock positions, I would be shocked if they do any more than single digits in a day for actually truck traffic. And they also their product doesn't move like a consumer product type company. So it's going to be a very high image building. They're going to have 200 car parking. They'll have about 150, 175 employees here at the facility. This has the ability to expand the building by 60,000 square feet. But I don't think that's a must-have for them. I think this is a pretty good expansion for them right now. The one thing too, they are going to do a lease here, be a 15-year lease, so it's a long-term commitment. And it's, I think, very similar. I think of the high image that you've seen already in Huntington 90, which you're seeing with Morisaki and Bistronics and the new building that McShane is building there. So with that, I think. With this thing, I think we're excited about trying to move this forward. Obviously, right now, this doesn't have the necessary zoning, and we also need to work out some agreements if there's support here tonight, or at least if we feel good about it with Myers on some stuff that's on the park and moving this in a different direction. So I know this has sat for quite a while, and retail is challenging to actually secure retail tenants now in the new world of e-commerce. So we think this is a really nice fit because of the number of jobs, the high-paying jobs, very light truck traffic, and then just the high image of this building. We have asked for, again, I know we're not voting here, we have asked for the 6B, which is, as you know, all these projects out here within Cook County are typically receiving a 6B, and that's important just for other counties we're competing with, which are not in Cook County. So with that, I guess I could turn it over to any sort of questions, comments, thoughts on the project that we're presenting.
I think before we get to questions, Pete, do you have anything that you want to tell us on this?
Yeah, just as was noted, the property is still zoned B2, which is our commercial district, which is what the original Meyer, the entire property was designated. So we would have to do a rezoning. There are some agreements we're still kind of looking through. The village had a development agreement, and there are some private agreements. But, assuming those things can be overcome from a land use perspective, this is adjacent to the other Hoffman Estates Technology Park courtesy review that you heard a couple months ago, and actually approved a 6B and a development agreement for on the 53 acres to the east. So it would actually border that property. Otherwise, most of the infrastructure, utilities, the internal roadway network are all in place from when Meyer first laid the subdivision out. So it could fit in the area. Obviously, the number of employees and activity in that area, I'm sure, would be viewed as a benefit to a lot of the existing businesses.
Does Meyer have to give their approval for this project?
I don't know that there are some private agreements that we're not party to, and I don't know that they have a flat-out blanket, maybe you know more, approval or denial stage. They just may be some things that they have to agree.
Yeah, I would say
to
there's some agreements that we'll need Meyer to work with us on to get the approval on that, so.
Have you reached out to Meyer already?
No, actually, we've been working with Kevin. Kevin Flynn has been reaching out. I called him today. He's actually on vacation this week, so I have not. I don't know where he is on those conversations. Nobody's got back to me, so I don't know how the conversations have gone with them.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I just don't have an update for you on that.
I know Kevin placed the phone call to start the dialogue, but then with him being out of town on a family vacation this week, it was also to see how the courtesy review went before the village played mediator, if you will.
Sure.
I think one thing, Peter, please remind me, the property, all of this property prior to being rezoned for Meyer was zoned?
Manufacturing.
So at one point in time, all this
Yes.
property was actually zoned appropriate for this use.
Yeah. And one thing, Gary, we wanted to make sure before somebody reached out to Myers, we wanted to make sure we had our elevations done and had, the executive summary, so it was a very clear, not kind of piecemeal information to them, which we got all that to the village 2 weeks ago, then the 4th of July happened, so, but we're trying to move that along. We understand it's important to get their approval on that.
Sure.
Or sign off, yeah.
Trustee Palafis.
Can you elaborate on what Myers needs to be engaged on?
I can't, because as Peter said, there are private agreements that were put on.
You don't know?
I don't know. I don't know exactly what Myers' rights are vis-à-vis this property. You'll remember that Terrestrius Development brought all of this to us. They retained ownership of this parcel while Myers owned the southern parcel. And when Terrestrius, during their session, went under, this property then went to a bank. So I don't believe, Mark, Peter, we've ever seen the private agreements, have we?
No, there's things that we don't know. I mean, we know about some of the cross easement agreements for the roadways and the detention utilities, but as is typical when a retailer's building a building, they often will put restrictions on the adjacent properties to protect their interests. Obviously, this is completely out of the box from retail, but we just don't have that.
This isn't a Target that would be next to a Meijer or something like that. But again, we don't know what the use restrictions are.
And we don't really know what they're going to do on their piece of land either, so I know it's.
We wish we knew what they were going to do on their piece of land.
But there were some that were published that I remember, like you couldn't have funeral homes or any other.
That was in our development agreement, and in that development agreement, it actually says the village board has the right to do whatever they ultimately choose to do. So our development agreement, it's not an impediment to this at all. The only thing that we think that might be are these underlying private agreements.
So that's what I was remembering then?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say I've done a lot of development. These private agreements are, I don't say complicated, but it's a lot of moving parts. Also, they're fairly old right now, so we'll get through them, but there's a lot of different agreements here, so.
Trustee Mills.
Just a little on these are concept plans I know right now, but it looks like you've got about 10 truck docks
That's correct.
on that. How would you envision that we'd be having the traffic the traffic flow would have to be looked at? And would we be looking at possibly looking into getting stop signals, traffic signals at one of those entrances?
Those are great questions. So I guess my perspective is, and obviously we have to do a traffic study that verifies all this. But I think, the primary access, obviously, for employees is going to be up Barrington Road, and you kind of have three different curb cuts here off of Barrington. You can
Right.
come in the south one, which is a right in, right out. You've got the main promenade in the middle, and then you can go to the north. So that's definitely where, I think most of the employee traffic, or I guess you could also go down to Lakewood, and you can come back that way too, depending on where they're coming from. I think trucks trucks have two ways. They could come back up through Lakewood. I think that's got to be studied to make sure that the radiuses work for trucks. My guess is it probably is fairly close, but that has to be studied.
Yeah, I know, it's
Yeah,
early
and then,
in the process.
or
for
trucks
ya.
could come up to the north for the right in, up to the north and come in the back way. So that's where the truck docks are oriented.
Because
So
right now, it's kind of hard to get in and out to go left out of there.
the one thing too is it's maybe a little hard to tell on our plan, but on the north and then on the east, there is a private. It's going to be a private road.
Okay.
So it's set up like it's set up like the internal roads that are there now.
Okay.
We're required to build that. So if you look at our plan, we have a road that you can come off of Barrington Road, go back east, and then come back down south, but then it dead ends at the Myers property. One thing to look at is, I know that, at least from talking to the villages, there was talk that would actually be the truck route, because that's how trucks would also get to, if Myers ever built their store, that would be the back of their store where they do their deliveries. So there's always a possibility we could work with Myers to extend that road and then pop that down to Lakewood, so then trucks could either come off Lakewood or they could come back around. So there's one thing I'd say, there's quite a few different options here. I'm not to speak out of school, but I think it's going to be very difficult to get a signal there at that main promenade entrance. I think with IDOT, that's probably, maybe if there's more development here, but I think just this one development wouldn't trigger enough traffic to get a
I don't
signal
remember,
there.
did we?
Remember, we couldn't get one for
Couldn't get it for
Menards.
Meyer, for Menards.
But
is
have a lot
further
more
down,
traffic
yeah.
than this would have. Yeah, I mean, this
Menards
is
had-
really just,
being retail would generate
Yeah.
far more.
Yeah, there was one planned and contemplated when Meyer was going to build a Meyer store and potentially another big box next to it. Those two big box retailers, IDOT's usually looking for an 8-hour demand across the day. This business may have some peak traffic, but not really.
And plus, they'll say it's too close to Lakewood anyway for the stoplight.
Yeah, it's actually that intersection's set up to handle a signal that was contemplated back then and planned for. I don't think the volumes will be there.
Okay.
yeah.
But the Lakewood answer is for trucks is probably going to be the answer.
Right.
That'll all be part of the study.
But I do think a traffic study will tell us a lot. Is when I do look at this, you want to, if trucks do come back out to Barrington, you need enough spacing that they can actually make it. You don't want stuff backing up into the park. And then if they go down to the south, you want to make sure that they can make the radiuses. The one nice thing that it is all privately owned land or private roads. So if you had to do some reconfiguration of the roads, and I need to get people to work with me on that, but it's a little different than I have to go buy right away from people and, or work with the municipality. So I don't want to say it's easy, but there's definitely a clear path to make it work.
Okay, you, now you referred to this that you're not at liberty to say who the client is or that. What type of a time frame are we looking at here?
They'll hopefully make a decision. Their goal was to have an agreement signed September, October. My guess is that's probably sliding a little bit. This would be a spring start. So I know, obviously if there's some support here, we have to go through all the zoning change, site plan approval, everything we have to go through there. So that will take us 3-4 months once we kind of get ramped up. So, and we're already, sounds sad, and we're already going into fall almost, so we won't be able to break ground until next spring. So.
Yeah. Okay, good luck to you.
Okay, thank you.
How sure are you of this client coming in here?
I feel good that this is their preferred site in Hoffman Estates, but I don't know relative to other locations. I've only had a couple conversations with the client, but I can't tell you when they're combining all these facilities as far as their labor and everything else and getting, it's a large public company and getting the approval to do this consolidation.
So this project will not move forward until they have said to you that this property is the property they want to go to. Is that right?
Yeah, I would say that in my world, the way this would work, if they came to me and said, we like this site and we like a site somewhere else, but we kind of want to go parallel paths, we would take the time and spend the money, completely above board saying, look, we think we can make the deal, but we'll spend the time to go through the process. But we want that good indication from them. We don't want to waste your time, or our time and money if we don't think there's a real chance this is going to move forward. I would say we're getting good feedback from them, but I've done this a long time. That's a long way away from good feedback to somebody signing a document. So I don't, we're not counting our chickens by any means.
Any other questions up here? Okay, anybody want to give any feedback to this gentleman as far as whether they think this is a good idea or not?
I think it would be something I wouldn't mind seeing us pursue at this point. And, but we'd need to have a lot more information before we could really give you anything final.
Exactly, yep.
Yes, Trustee Palafis.
I know the 6B is a sweetener. Is there any other kind of incentives you're going to be looking for? Or?
They haven't asked for anything else if they're trying to work with the state or anything else trying to do there. I mean, they don't pay sales tax or anything, so I don't think there's much else they could do. So
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're looking for me, I would agree with Trustee Mills. This property was originally manufacturing, and I certainly do not mind if it goes back that way. It's been sitting vacant for so long. Yes, Mayor.
I agree with you.
Okay. Does anybody from the audience wish to address us on this topic? Okay. Thank you very much for coming in.
I appreciate it.
Good luck.
Okay. Have a nice night.
Thank you. It's unusual, but I'm going to kind of ask for a recess for about 5 minutes. I think we need a roll call for that.
I'll make a motion to recess.
Thank you.
Second.
Hey, we have a roll call.
Sure. Trustee Gata?
Aye.
Chairman Stanton?
Aye.
Vice Chairman Arnett?
Aye.
Trustee Mills?
Aye.
Trustee Newell? Trustee Palafis?
Aye.
Mayor McLeod?
Aye.
All right, we're in recess for 5 minutes. Thank you. May we have a roll call?
Trustee Gata?
Present.
Chairman Stanton?
Present.
Vice Chairman Arnett?
Present.
Trustee Mills? Trustee Newell?
Present.
Trustee Palafis?
Present.
Mayor McLeod?
Present.
We're still accounted for. All right, that leads us to new business number 3. Request approval of the Community Development Block Grant, the CDBG, Annual Action Plan for Program Year 14, which is from 2019 to 2020.
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you. Want to bring us up to speed on this?
Sure. This is the proposed plan for the upcoming CDBG program year. And for 2019-2020, the village will receive approximately $246,000 in HUD funding, about $2,700 more than this current year. And so far this year, the village CDBG funds have been used for road work, the CAC joint project, and the single-family rehab program. The proposed 2019-2020 plan, which begins October 1st, would include funding for these activities, plus adds an allocation for the Journeys construction project. Journeys is a nonprofit organization located in Palatine that provides shelter and social services in the northwest suburbs, and they're planning to construct a new facility on their current property. Journeys would be a collaborative project, like the joint CAC project here in Hoffman Estates. So the village's CDBG funds would be combined with the CDBG funds from Palatine, Schaumburg, Mount Prospect, Arlington Heights, and Cook County. And the details are still being discussed with HUD on that. So if that Journeys project doesn't materialize, the funds of the village would just be reallocated to other CDBG projects of the village. The upcoming program year marks the fifth and final year of the current consolidated plan. And late this year, staff will begin work on the next 5-year plan for 2020 through 2025. As part of that process, it's a HUD process, the village must reassess its strategic CDBG objectives and goals. And that plan, plus an annual plan, will come before the PB&Z next year. And I should note, there is an error on the third page of the pink sheet. In the financial impact section, it should note that the expected funding allocation for 2019-2020 is $245,931. A little mistake on there.
Thank you. Any question? Yes, trustee Palafis.
I know in the past when we talked about 503s, they had to go through a pretty stringent audit process. Is this Journeys group set up for that?
So,
do they receive CDBG from anybody else? Because I know Palatine does quite a bit with, some of the non-for-profits.
this is true. So there's social service funding through CDBG, and that's what Palatine has done in the past for Journeys. And that is a different way of funding. It's not something that was in our current 5-year plan. And it's a bit of a rigorous process. This is actually infrastructure related because they're building a new building. So it's much like the CAC project, and it also fits within the village's goals in the current 5-year plan. But that is something that could be added in, the social services aspect. That would require an amendment to the current 5-year plan, or could be part of the next 5-year plan as well.
But the building they're looking to build is actually in Palatine.
It is, correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that kind of a quid pro quo for what they did for us?
It is. It
Okay.
is.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Anyone else up here? Thank you, Ryan. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Roll call.
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, roll call.
Ooh.
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Chairman Stanton.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Mills.
Aye.
Trustee Newell.
Aye.
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye.
Thank you. Fourth is request approval to issue a request for proposals to solicit submittals from qualified consulting firms for a planning study for the Barrington Road I-90 interchange sub-area of the village.
So moved.
Second?
Peter, you want to tell us about that one?
Sure. So this is something that's been talked about for quite some time, in concert with our ultimate goal of updating the comprehensive plan for the village. We obviously had completed the western area study in and around the Prairie Stone area a few months ago. This was kind of looked at as the second significant sub-area plan that was important to study in a little more detail than what we would typically do in a comprehensive plan. So that's why it's being looked at independently. Obviously, driving forces here are the changes at the interchange, becoming full access, the Pace Transit Center, and really opportunities that exist around the interchange. So we put together a draft proposal, a request for proposals, tried to outline some of the things we're looking for specifically. In addition to the general land use kind of mapping framework plans for the 3 quadrants of the intersection that are in the village, also included some specific details within that area that we were going to try and get further study on. And these are really pulled from comments and issues, challenges that have come up within the village over a number of years, include things like the private Hassel Road extension, and some challenges exist there. There's some positive things like the Bell Works development and how that can be better connected to the transit center, as well as the whole southeast area, which is aging. The small industrial buildings we have, we see more and more different types of uses that are not industrial. Some of the buildings have aged considerably and need updating, and whether or not there may be opportunities for some changes in that neighborhood, as well as how to better connect some of the residential communities to the southeast of the interchange, connect them to the transportation options. We've already started to see with these industrial projects, with Bell Works, with some other activity in the area, how now that the economy is fairly strong again for development, with the interchange being open, we're starting to see, push for some change and new projects in the area. So I think this study will be very important to help us kind of stay grounded and make sure that as decisions continue to be made, they're kind of made with the bigger picture in mind. A couple of the key resources we're looking for the consultants to look at would include the transit studies that were done earlier, the one in 2013 the village did about actual transit operations, and then the study that PACE did in 2016 prior to opening the transit center, where they really focused on land use. A good part of that focused on land use opportunities around the interchange, and PACE looked at it from the transit provider perspective and what would benefit, that facility from a land use standpoint. This is really an opportunity for the village to take a look to see how we can take better advantage of that transit center, as well as the full access situation that's there, and really maximize the potential for development or redevelopment around the interchange. So we tried to lay that all out in this draft RFP. If there's any other comments tonight, we can try and incorporate them in before we send it out. I put a target timeline in here. These dates may adjust a little bit once we get this, any comments tonight, and kind of get it finalized and sent out to consultants. But basically, looking to hopefully come back, get RFP out, get proposals reviewed, and come back to committee, sometime in September, maybe October at the latest, and kind of estimate about a 8 or 9 month, maybe 6 to 9 month period to actually complete the study, which would include, obviously a number of input points along the way, much like we did with the West Area study. So that's kind of the overview of this. The other point that we mentioned before on the West study is that ultimately, on the heels of this, we hopefully would start the full comprehensive plan update. The West Area study and this study would become essentially an appendix or a part of the comprehensive plan, and findings from these reports could be incorporated into that ultimate plan for the overall village. I can answer any questions.
Thank you, Peter. Trustee Palafis.
Would we ever use the output of this study for the creation of a PUD?
Yeah, I think these types of studies can lay the foundation, the groundwork for changes to our zoning code, changes to land use policies. Much like our comprehensive plan did in 2007, there was a lot of talk about TOD development back when the Star Line was being considered. And there were recommendations in that comp plan about creating mixed-use districts, and so that's definitely something that the plan could, kind of lead to.
I mean, especially my interest is in the southeast quadrant. Because you have the feeding. Well, I guess the northeast too. Although I'm kind of surprised to see that there, because we have so much action happening up that way. But why leave it out, right? But more of the southeast quadrant, I see the disposition of now having the PACE routes up and down the interstate, giving the potential for maybe more of a CMU type of. But I think in order for it to have teeth, it would have to be a PUD or something that has, more, I don't even know the words to use, but just more of a defined goal, a set of goals.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, well, I think that definitely would be one of the focus points that we would want to see on that southeast area.
With the interchange improvements and the transit, or the introduction of transit there, we really want to look at the highest and best use, which I think the game is up now with those improvements in place. So that's one of the key things that we want to get out of this study.
Great. That's all for me.
Thank you. You haven't had any homeowners, or I shouldn't say homeowners, business owners of these properties that are there that say they want to change or anything, have you?
Actually, the new owners of the Northwest Corporate Center have talked to Kevin a couple of times, given some vacancy over there, and maybe consolidating tenants into one portion or the other, and then looking at potential redevelopment of the other portion. So very preliminary discussions and at a very high level, but definitely they've shown some initial interest, and I think they'd be very interested in what we come up with in this study. So that's just one example.
Well, good. I mean, I really didn't think there was anybody out there that was that interested, but that sounds great.
Yeah, and some of the smaller individual buildings that have undergone vacancies or partial vacancies, what we're seeing are all different kinds of uses talking to us about that are not industrial, church, religious, meeting space, conference centers, fitness centers, places that are not really fitting into what the neighborhood once was, back in the 70s and 80s. So that's on a smaller scale, building by building. And if this plan, obviously the consultants will be reaching out to the stakeholders, talking to property owners, and actually trying to solicit their input, and maybe we would be able to flush out some of those thoughts. I know some of the properties have undergone foreclosures and been sold at reduced rates, and there's just a number of opportunities that could come out of this.
Thank you. Trustee Palafis.
Well, seeing as you brought up Northwest Corporate Center, I didn't want to name names. That's the part I was most interested in seeing change. And it's just a dumping ground of old buildings now, to be polite. So, it'd be interesting to see what creative things they could do to change, that landscape, if you will. Move them all in one place, build a new, move them back, do something cool. I mean, we have a hotel with a pool there now, so how can you miss, right?
And I think hand in hand with the actual land use, the other component, Mike Henke's obviously had a lot of input in this too, is with the transit center located where it's at, especially looking at the southeast quadrant, how do you get people to know it's there? Wayfinding, streetscape. If you talk about trying to connect to the fairly dense areas of residential that are just maybe a half mile from that center or so, how do you really get people there better or make it a more attractive and interesting or inviting area to make it function? PACE has obviously invested millions of dollars in a huge long-term commitment in making a transit center work at this location, and this is really the other side of the equation is really what they don't control, which are things that we have a lot of influence over, which is land uses and our public street network and how we can work to further the enhancement or the success of that transit center and have it work to the advantage of the community, I think.
Trustee Palafis.
Last comment. It would be nice, even if that area was a candidate for a new 22, potentially. If there's things moving and deals being cut, it's got some good road access.
It potentially could. I can tell you from what we've studied, the best location would be just west of Barrington Road.
Right.
In the Greens Point area. And actually, that's one of the areas we're going to look at also. That's obviously the southwest quadrant. And we have had some of the property owners there actually talk about some of the vacancies they have in some of the smaller office buildings as you go west on Higgins. There's some of them, and including one that talked about consolidating everybody into one building and demolishing a building.
Behind Mercola.
In that vicinity, yes.
Yeah.
That's all for me.
Thank you. Anyone else up here with any other questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Chairman Stanton.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Mills.
Aye.
Trustee Newell.
Aye.
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Thank you.
Aye.
5, request approval to A, finalize and file TIF eligibility study and redevelopment plan with the village clerk and proceed through the required TIF review approval process, and B, contract with SB Friedman Development Advisors to provide consulting services throughout the review approval process.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Mark, I think this is yours, right?
I'll take this one. So this is a twofold request. The first part is the finalization and filing the TIF eligibility report. So you'll recall back in 2017, the Village Board approved the annexation of 3 parcels west of 59, north of 72, and approved development agreements for those parcels. A TIF was proposed at that time, but not approved or adopted by the village. It was actually withdrawn before I got to that point. So the village has engaged SB Friedman to look at a modified version of that TIF. It would be a village TIF. It would be only for the 16 and 24 acres parcels along with the adjacent roadway, right-of-way, to pay certain eligible costs that staff believes are necessary to initiate commercial development on those parcels. The village would enter into, if approved, if the TIF was approved, the village would enter into development agreements with a selected commercial developer, or as an alternative, we could undertake the improvements ourselves, pay ourselves back from the future TIF revenues. Again, this would be for those types of developments that the village wanted to see on those parcels. We could certainly exclude residential, for example, which was one of the points from the previous TIF proposal. So that would be off the table. The initial study performed by Friedman indicates that they do meet one of the 5 TIF factors for a blighted TIF under the statute. That is for chronic flooding. It clearly meets that requirements. That's all that, you only need one of those factors, so that would be enough. Friedman also did some projections on potential TIF revenues based on kind of a preliminary development proposal for commercial development, including some retail, some restaurant, gas station, convenience store, perhaps some self-storage along the CN Railroad, and then a larger commercial center, retail center on the 24 acres. Under those assumptions and certain build-outs, Friedman projected about $20 million over the 23 years. For the particular improvements that staff believes would be necessary or certainly would be helpful to instigating development on these parcels, those are listed in the pink sheet and they amount to less than $10 million. So even if the projections are off by a factor of 100%, there would still be enough money to pay for those improvements. And again, those are the improvements that we think would be helpful to get development going. Extending the utilities across the road is really one of the probably the most important one, and then some of the road improvements and a few of the other things like underground detention or off-site detention for stormwater. The second part of the approval of the request today is to continue with SB Friedman, their contract for Phase 2, taking us through the full approval process is for $13,820, and that would be, we'd be asking for consideration of that as well. Happy to answer any questions.
Jim, you have something you want to say first?
I'd just like to highlight a couple of things, maybe a little bit more pointedly than Mr. Copland did. And one is that it absolutely is the village's TIF. It's not at the request of any developer. None of the potential commercial scenarios that we had Friedman look at in terms of what the increment generation would be were based upon any previous concept plans. We asked them to look at what and frankly, a fairly low-tier retail commercial plan would be. That's why you heard storage units along the railroad tracks. So we do think it's conservative. I also want to point out that under Illinois TIF law, even though this would only cover the 26-acre corner and the 16-acre L-shaped piece that goes up along the tracks, any of the infrastructure that's necessary for off-site improvements to serve these properties, for example, detention, could be constructed on the adjacent as long as it's owned and there's permission to do it. And the stormwater more than likely would have to be done that way. So I want to make sure the board is aware of that up front. And lastly, to highlight the fact that the existing agreements that are on the 3 properties would have to be amended for any redevelopment agreement the board would want to enter into with a plan the board could endorse. So ultimately, the village would have to get the underlying ownership, who would be selling the property more than likely to the developer we're working on for a redevelopment agreement. We'd have to amend those agreements that are already in place, just so you understand the mechanics. The biggest complaint we've heard about access to this property from people wanting to buy it is the fact that utilities aren't on the site and the infrastructure costs are overwhelming. So if there's a vehicle, hopefully that will cause something to happen.
Trustee Palafis, you had a question?
I have a few things to say, more than a question. First, I agree. I think the village owning the TIF is a great idea, because then we have destiny in our hands, as opposed to being told, what we want, right? Number two, I think, the other taxing districts that we have such a good relationship with, now would be a good time to strike and do this. And then I love the comment, you could be 100% wrong and still be successful. I mean, only in government, right? Can you do that? But I think, the plan's good, and it, would be something that would get part of that moving, especially for the commercial on the corner, before other adjacent properties and their phase twos and continued development, start popping up. So, just my opinion.
Thank you. Anyone else up here with any other thoughts? All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Chairman Stanton.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Mills.
Aye.
Trustee Newell.
Aye.
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, we're into reports for information only. First is the Planning Division Monthly Report. Anybody have any questions on that? Peter, do you have anything to add? Thank you. That'll be received and filed. Second is Code Enforcement Division Monthly Report. Anybody have any questions on that? That'll be received and filed. And third is the Economic Development and Tourism Monthly Report. I guess if we would have to ask Mark if he has anything to add.
On behalf of the tourism director, I'd like to point out that all the village hotels sold out during the Spring Awakening event. The other comment, and that they're translated to about 3,000 room nights occupied throughout the region, not only Hoffman Estates, but Elgin and Schaumburg as well. But the most interesting comment to me in the report was that the hotels reported that the guests from this event were better behaved than their average wedding guest or sports tournament guests. All participating hotels would be delighted to see this event return next year.
It's amazing.
That's great.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions regarding that? All right, that'll be received and filed. President's report.
I'll wait for the board meeting, Chairman Stanton.
Thank you. We have nothing in other or items in review. I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you. May we have a roll call on that, please?
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Chairman Stanton.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Mills.
Aye.
Trustee Newell.
Aye.
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
The board meeting of July 8th, can you call the roll to reestablish a quorum, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata?
Present.
Can you hear him?
I heard him say
Mike?
present.
present.
He said present.
Mike?
Mike, would you say that again?
Sure, present.
He's fogging.
Sounds very far.
Trustee Newell?
Present.
Trustee Palafis?
Present.
Trustee Stanton?
Present.
Trustee Arnett?
Present.
Trustee Mills?
Present.
Mayor McLeod?
Present. We have reestablished a quorum. This meeting is being taped and shown live and being taped to be reshown throughout the week. So I'll make sure everybody's aware of that. We'll move on to item 3, recognition of the audience. This is time if someone wants to come before the board on an issue or an item that is not on the agenda. Now's the time to come forward. Going once, twice, 3 times, we'll move on. Item 4, approval of minutes of the June 17th, 2019 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Is motion a second? Any additions or corrections to these minutes? Seeing none, can you call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Stanton? I'm sorry, Trustee Gata?
Aye.
Trustee Newell?
Aye.
Trustee Palafis?
Aye.
Trustee Stanton?
Aye.
Trustee Arnett?
Aye.
Trustee Mills?
Aye.
Mayor McLeod?
Aye, motion carried. Move on to 5, consent agenda omnibus vote. Chair would accept a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
There's a motion, there's a second. The items on the consent agenda are A, approval of the agenda, B, Approval of the schedule of bills for July 8, 2019 in the amount of $365,970.71. C, request board approval of an ordinance granting a special use to a la carte entertainment, 2525 West Higgins Road. D, request board acceptance of the comprehensive annual financial report for the year ended December 31st, 2018. E, request board acceptance of the Economic Development Area Special Tax Allocation Fund Annual Financial Report for the year ended December 31st, 2018. F, request board authorization to, 1, waive formal bidding, and 2, award contract to CDW Government for the purchase of 45 desktop computers in an amount not to exceed $32,130. G, request board authorization to, 1, waive formal bidding, and 2, purchase 2 portable message boards from TAPCO, Brown Deer, Wisconsin, using the U.S. Communities Contract Discount in an amount not to exceed $34,863.71. H, request board authorization to, 1, waive formal bidding, and 2, utilize the EZIQC Lake County Cooperative to enter into a contract with Leopardo Construction, design, build a storage building on the Sears Center site in an amount not to exceed $890,000. Okay, we do have a motion, a second. Does anybody want anything pulled out of this? Seeing not, can you pull the board, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata? Mike?
Aye.
Trustee Newell?
Aye.
Trustee Palafis?
Aye.
Trustee Stanton?
Aye.
Trustee Arnett?
Aye.
Trustee Mills?
Aye.
Mayor McLeod?
Aye, motion carried. Move on to President's Report. Earlier this evening, we swore in 4 people for promotions: Lieutenant Jeff Golden to Captain, firefighter Scott Mullis to Lieutenant, firefighter James Cordoba to Lieutenant, firefighter Tiffany Byer to Lieutenant. Happy birthday, Trustee Karen Mills. It is her birthday today, July 8th. And what better way to spend your
I just
birthday?
love spending it off of you.
3 committee meetings and a board meeting.
No wonder she's in a hurry to leave.
Hey, that's why you keep asking when are we going to quit here?
There's a couple things I really want to thank Hoffman Estates High School for having their band and their flag group in our parade. It's great, 4th of July parade. I want to thank the code enforcement for working on Huntington Plaza. The western part of that plaza was in a deplorable condition, the parking lot. And Pete, you guys kept on it and got it done. It was just amazing to see how much better it looked. Also, one of our officers, Jennings, was involved in helping save someone's life with CPR and the use of an AED in a facility not in our community. He was off duty at the time, and he will be honored by the police department at their annual award events. I've got a couple of appointments. One, Joan Tomey to Sister Cities Commission. Chair would accept a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, can you pull the board, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata?
Aye.
Trustee Newell?
Aye.
Trustee Palafis?
Aye.
Trustee Stanton?
Aye.
Trustee Arnett?
Aye.
Trustee Mills?
Aye.
Mayor McLeod?
Aye, motion carried. Sandra Jensen to the Arts Commission.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions on this one? Seeing none, can you pull the board?
Trustee Gata?
Aye.
Trustee Newell?
Aye.
Trustee Palafis?
Aye.
Trustee Stanton?
Aye.
Trustee Arnett?
Aye.
Trustee Mills?
Aye.
Mayor McLeod?
Aye, motion carried. We have 2 resignations. One, John Hathaway from the Arts Commission. Chair to accept a motion.
Move to accept with regret.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion to second. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, can you call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata?
Aye.
Trustee Newell?
Aye.
Trustee Palafis?
Aye.
Trustee Stanton?
Aye.
Trustee Arnett?
Aye.
Trustee Mills?
Aye.
Mayor McLeod?
Aye, motion carried. And Eric Marson from the Sustainability Commission.
Move with regret.
Second.
There's a motion to second. Any discussion on this one? Seeing none, can you pull the board, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata?
Aye.
Trustee Newell?
Aye.
Trustee Palafis?
Aye.
Trustee Stanton?
Aye.
Trustee Arnett?
Aye.
Trustee Mills?
Aye.
Mayor McLeod?
Aye, motion carried. There's some events coming up in the next couple of weeks, and we won't be meeting again until the 22nd, I believe, of July. And Thursday, July 11th, Summer Sounds on the Green will feature Mr. Myers. Get transported to your own Margaritaville with a mixture of beach, calypso, and reggae music. On July 18th, Howard and the White Boys Northern Illinois Pride and Joy will bring their buddy guy mentored skills to the stage for a night of memorable blues music. Concerts begin at 7 p.m. Arrive early for a great seat. Saturday, July 13th, staff from our Health and Human Services Department invites you to participate in a free self-defense class in the Hennessy Room at the Village Hall from 2 to 3 p.m. The event is open to anyone 18 or older. There's no cost to attend, but you do need to RSVP by calling at 847-781-4850. Wednesday, the 17th, head out to the Village Green and the Hideaway Brew Garden for vodka and Vivaldi. The business casuals will play at 6 p.m., followed by the Elgin Symphony Orchestra Ensemble at 7:30. The event is free to attend. Proceeds from the sale of food and drinks will help Partners for Our Communities and the Higgins Education Center serving residents in Hoffman Estates. Saturday, July 20th, we'll have our coffee at the board at 10 a.m. at the Village Hall in this very room. And Saturday and Sunday, July 20th and 21st, all community events will host Fit for America and Chicagoland Inline. Run a half marathon, 10K or 5K races, or participate in the second largest inline skating event in the United States. The action takes place on the former AT&T campus in Hoffman Estates Saturday and Sunday, July 20th and 21st. We did have a couple things I wanted to mention. On Thursday, July 4th, of course, we had the parade on Illinois Boulevard, which was a very great parade. The weather was okay, and I really liked that parade route there. And we also had the Northwest Fourth Fest, obviously. Went out there at the Sears Center Arena, and we had fireworks that evening. The fireworks were very good. Then we had the honor of having Senator Tammy Duckworth come and watch the fireworks with us. And this afternoon, we had the TIF Joint Review Board meeting, and we celebrated Trustee Mills's birthday. Congratulations again, Trustee Mills.
Thank you.
Okay, we did the proclamation, and we did the board and commission appointments. Go to trustee comments. Trustee Mills.
Well, thank you
Sure
all for your birthday wishes tonight. Maybe tomorrow before we get out of here, but over the last couple of weeks, on the 18th, I think I was doing the retirement circuit. Someone's trying to tell me something. On the 18th, I attended Marty Salerno's retirement as village public, what would we consider him, engineering?
Engineering.
Thank you.
Engineering
Right.
street
He did a lot of work throughout the village with street renovations over the years, and we will miss him. On the 25th of June, it was Captain Russ Slagle's retirement from the fire department. On the 28th, it was Bruce Anderson's retirement. And on July 2nd, I attended the Capital Improvement Board meeting for an update on what's been going on this year. Was happy to be part of the 4th of July parade on the 4th, and was at the carnival the night of the 5th. And tonight, our 60th anniversary committee meeting had their monthly meeting, and things are moving along great for September 21st. We should be having some fun activities, and want everybody to save the date. It's going to be a great night. And again, congratulations to our fire department promotions tonight. It's always great to see us be able to promote from within, and we've got some great guys that are moving up. So congratulations to all of them.
Great.
That's it.
Trustee Gay, do you have anything you want to mention?
One, to wish Karen, Trustee Mills, a happy birthday, right? And I'll just reserve until I'm physically there, and then I can go over the places, but thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Newell.
Okay, a couple things. I'll try to be quick. On the 20th, was at the Village Green for, once again, the Good Thursday concerts. The 22nd was the CAC 5K walk. The 23rd, the birthday that I attended with the mayor and Trustee Arnett for Everett Schriegel, 100 years old. And I'm telling you that person was very spry for 100. I hope that when I hit 100, I still got all that energy.
His hearing was even good.
He was great. He was in really good shape for 100. I mean, and Black Party the same day at 2211 Langdon. On the 29th, attended the Pride Month collection, which was a good turnout. They had over 40 volunteers for that. The 30th, happy birthday, belated or whatever, to Council Art. And on the 2nd, the CIB meeting. On the 4th, did the parade, and I had my daughter and my grandpuppy come, which was a lot of fun. Congrats to all the firefighters tonight for all their promotions, and Last but not least, happy birthday, Karen. You will get a chance to celebrate.
Thank you.
Trustee Stanton.
Worked around it.
Thank you. On the 19th in the afternoon, I was able to attend the ice cream social here with the bingo, and that was sponsored by the Commission for Senior Citizens. Once again, as always, they put on a wonderful show and program. On the 19th in the evening, I was able to attend the Northwest Municipal Conference Annual Gala. And between the 20th and the 24th, my wife and I had our grandchildren over at our house. And on the 24th, they actually did watch our committee meetings here, and they were upset that they didn't see their grandpa so much on the TV. And I didn't have enough TV time that night. Unfortunately, they should have been watching tonight, yeah. On the 20th, I was able to attend Bruce Anderson's retirement luncheon. And I also was able to attend the Capital Improvements Board meeting. Let's see, I was able to pass out candy on the 4th of July from my golf cart, which was a different perspective this year. But I had one of those whole containers of candy, so I really got rid of a lot of candy rather than those buckets I usually throw candy from. And we attended the reception for the firefighters tonight. And finally, happy birthday, Trustee Mills.
Thank you.
Trustee Arnett.
Okay, thank you. Also on the 19th, I did go to the Northwest Municipal Conference Gala, very nicely put on, as they do every year. On the 22nd, I also attended the CAC Walk. Weather was just absolutely phenomenal compared to last year. On the 23rd, I also attended the birthday party for Everett. God bless him for 100 years old and looking like he's 70. Also attended the Black Party for at 2211 Langdon Place. On the 26th, I did attend the Wine Wednesday for a little bit. On July 2nd, I also attended the Capital Improvements Board. And on July 3rd, also attended the Code 3 at Station 22. Lieutenant Golden and Greg did a phenomenal job working that one out. It was a low crowd, but it was very well and informative. Also on the 4th, attended the parade. And congratulations to 4 of our firefighters who were promoted tonight. And happy birthday to Karen Mills.
Thank you, Trustee Arnett. Trustee Palafis.
Happy birthday, Karen.
Thank you.
We're wrapping it up here. Great news about the hotels being booked during Spring Awakening. It's good to hear. I know the Marriott, Ben said, was booked within 10 minutes of announcement. Thank you to everyone who attended the Mid-Year Capital Improvement Board. Thank you for the Finance Department and all of the other departments for all the hard work required to put that plan together. Congratulations to the Fort Fest Commission for a successful fest. Also, I want to thank Hoffman Estates High School's band for marching in the parade. It was a long time coming, and it was great to see them. I also attended the Palatine Parade and would like us to consider joining their parade next year if the schedule works out. There's a lot of North Hoffman Estates people that attend that parade, more than I thought, and I was surprised. And as far as our parade, I wonder if we extend invitations like the Wind City Bowls or really our Chamber of Commerce, to be in our parade. That's the only differences I see when I go to some of the other parades as I parade hop. So just kind of throwing it out there, but maybe I'll write a note to the commission. And then congratulations to all of our promoted firefighters. I agree. It's great to see those promotions, meet all the families, and see everybody so happy. That's all for me.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. Okay, I'll move on to Village Manager's report.
Just happy birthday, Trustee Mills.
Thank you.
Village Clerk's report.
Okay, I actually have business. 48 passports and 100 were processed last month, and 182 FOIAs. So FOIAs are way up. We've got some repeaters that are, instead of just submitting one FOIA, they'll do the same FOIA to multiple departments, and then a few days later do it again. So that's, I think, why they were so high. There's a handful of those that are going around. But that's it.
Okay, thank you. Move on to Planning and Zoning Commission reports. Chairperson Combs, long-suffering. Come on up.
Wake up.
And I'm awake.
Planning and Zoning Commission recommended for approval a request by McShane Hoffman Estates LLC owner and Connor Commercial Real Estate applicant for preliminary and final site plan for an extension of Eagle Way with 5 conditions. The vote was 8 ayes, 3 absent.
Chair would accept a motion.
Move to accept the recommendation.
I'll second.
Motion a second. Any discussion on this? No discussion? Can you pull the board, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata.
We lost.
Aye.
Oh, there he is.
Trustee Newell. Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Trustee Stanton.
Aye.
Trustee Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Mills.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye. Motion carried.
Planning and Zoning Commission recommended for approval a request by McShane Hoffman Estates LLC owner and Connor Commercial Real Estate applicant for preliminary and final plat of dedication for an extension of Eagle Way, voting 8 ayes, 3 absent.
Chair would accept a motion to
So
defer
moved.
this item. It
Oh, defer it?
hasn't been cooked totally.
The owner of the property, the Claire's Building, is a New York real estate investment group, and they are in discussion with Connor Commercial on acquiring the little bit of property that's left necessary at the corner of Central and Eagle Way for it to be constructed in a small easement, construction easement, but it has not been finalized as of yet. Therefore, the plat cannot be signed by the underlying owner at this time. Jimmy Vaselli, who the board is aware of, represents that New York firm. He has a conference. I talked to him today. He has a conference call with them tomorrow. He believes he's got them to the point where they are ready to make a deal, but he says to finalize the deal that Mr. Quigley's been working on with them, and then if that gets done, then the documents can be done, the plat can be signed.
Trustee Mills.
Does that affect that first motion in any way
No.
with the conditions?
No, the plan is 100% correct and right. The plat is just the legal document, and the way the plat is written, and it shows the conveyance already being done.
And there's no concern about any of these conditions anymore, right?
Actually, the conditions are, the way they are written, we kind of anticipated it wouldn't be
Okay.
that way.
Just want to make sure it didn't affect it.
Any other comments or questions?
I'll make a motion to defer.
Second.
Motion a second to defer. Any discussion? Seeing none, can you pull the board, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Trustee Newell.
Aye.
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Trustee Stanton.
Aye.
Trustee Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Mills.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye, motion carried. Thank you, Chairperson Combs. Move on to 8 additional business. We got 4 items here.
Move to approve by omnibus vote 8A through D.
There's a motion for an omnibus vote on 8A through D.
I'll second.
There's a motion, there's a second. The 4 items here are A, request board approval of an ordinance amending section 6-2-1-HE-11-1302-A of the Hoffman Estates Municipal Code, no parking, Dell and McCormick. B, request board approval to dispose of village records that have exceeded their state-required retention period. C, request board approval to, 1, finalize and file TIF eligibility study and redevelopment plan with village clerk and proceed through the required TIF review approval process. 2, contract with SB Freeman Development Advisors to provide consulting services throughout the review approval process. D, request board approval of the Community Development Block Grant CDBG Annual Action Plan for Program Year 14, 2019 through 2020. There is a motion and a second. Are there any questions on any of these? Anybody want anything pulled? If not, can you call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Trustee Newell.
Aye.
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Trustee Stanton.
Aye.
Trustee Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Mills.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye, motion carried.
I'll
Chair-
make a motion to approve it now, because that was the omnibus, the first vote.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and a second for approval. Any discussion? Seeing none, can you pull the board, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Trustee Newell.
Aye.
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Trustee Stanton.
Aye.
Trustee Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Mills.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye, motion carried. Chair to accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on this?
None.
Can you call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Trustee Newell.
Aye.
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Trustee Stanton.
Aye.
Trustee Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Mills.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye, motion carried. We are adjourned.